Sorry about that. I just had an alarm going off reminding me to do something and it stopped the video. So I've just jumped back on now. So quite often when I meet people and look at them, I'll look at their eyes and the whites of their eyes, and our eyes should be white, like newborns. Newborns' eyes are very white, and that's because they obviously don't. If they're born healthy, they don't have disease, and they've eaten the wrong things or exercised, drank alcohol, smoked, etc., etc. So quite often when you look at newborn or children, the whites are very white in their eyes. So the healthier you get, they go whiter as well. And little lines in your eyes also indicate lots of things to do with your health, emotional, mental, and you can heal them if you get healthier and deal with certain things. If it might be illness or if it's an emotional stress, anxiety, depression, etc., the red lines in our eyes quite often disappear. So that's a really cool thing. And I can't help it now when I meet people. I quite often look at their eyes to see how healthy they are. So just going back on the you don't think you eat that much, but you're not losing weight and you don't understand why. It's because you're in a calorie surplus. So you can be healthy, you can be a vegan, can be plant-based, etc., and still consume too many calories that your body needs. As we get older, we actually burn less. So the younger people in Bodylishish will be burning more calories than the 40-year-old next to them. If you weigh 10 kilos more than the person next to you in Bodylishish, you also burn more calories because it's harder for your body to move. It's harder for a 70-kilo person to do a burpee than in regards to a 60-kilo person. That's just an example. So everyone's watches are different and they're all to your individual weight, height, sex and age. And also the fitter you get, you'll burn less calories in the classes because it's a lot harder for you to get to your maximum heart rate where you're burning a lot of calories because you're fitter. So I guess it's a good thing. So you might notice the changes in your workouts. So in regards to consuming too many calories and being in a calorie surplus, so you won't lose weight no matter what food you eat. And you can train in the gym every single day and you can still eat too much and not get anywhere. So you may be better off having a strict food diary, calorie intake for a little while, and even just do 1 or 2 classes, and you would lose weight quicker than if you train every single day and don't change your diet and consume too many calories. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. Okay. So you'll need to be in a deficit in regards to lose weight. And the only way you'll know this is if you're calculating your calories. You're not guessing handful here, handful there, teaspoon here, etc. You need to know, you need to count. So you need an app on your phone, which is called Calorie King. I use an Apple phone. I'm sure Samsung have got them as well. It's super easy. You punch in 1 slice of bread, white bread, whatever, and it comes up with 100 calories, etc. So you will need to write down what you're eating, work out the calories, and I would do this meal by meal. I wouldn't do it at the end of the day because maybe the damage is already done. Do you know what I mean? So if you're kind of adding them up during the day, you know where you're at. You don't want to go too low either. Some people make the mistake of going on a 1,200 calorie diet a day, and it's just really, really hard to maintain. Very hard, so then you won't do it, and then you won't be successful. So something I would possibly look at is around 1,400 calories a day, especially if you're training in the gym as well. So you need a bit of energy there. You're welcome to intermittent fasting, which I've touched on, which means you eat in the 8-hour window and have a 16-hour fasting. You still need to look at how many calories you're consuming in that 8 hours though. Hope so that's all making sense to you. Some things may affect your weight as you get older if you're on medications, or menopause. It can certainly affect your weight, but I 100% agree with if you're consuming too many calories is the reason why you're overweight, and it's time to get honest with the food diary. I keep saying food diary, but it also is liquids as well. So alcohol, cappuccinos, flavored milks, soft drinks, etc., they should all be included in your food diary. And a realistic weight drop would be 500 grams to a kilo a week. Remember, it has to be consistent over 7 days. It's no use being 1,400 calories for 5 days, and then on the weekend you blow out and have 3,000 on Saturday, 3,000 on Sunday. Not going to work. You've undone all your good work for the week. So you need to, if your goal is to lose weight in Bodylicious or just get a little bit healthier, etc., you will have to count calories for a while. Not for the rest of your life, but maybe till you hit your goal weight. I don't really count them anymore. I sort of train to eat, and then if I feel myself getting a little bit heavier, I might just cut it back. And I do count every now and then for a couple of weeks and just pull it in a little bit. So if you're having like a sandwich, you would open up the app on your phone or your laptop. If you're having a sandwich, you physically punch in 2 slices of bread, 1 teaspoon of mayo, 1 teaspoon of butter, and whatever's on the sandwich as well. And how do you know it's a teaspoon? Well, you've got to measure it. You can't just guess. Alrighty? So you're going to have to put a little bit of time into it. And bearing in mind that, 1 slice of cheese and then 1 slice of ham, it's got to be quite specific to start. So, but once you get your head around it, and if you have that same sandwich every day, you don't need to calculate it. You already know that the sandwich is 480 calories or something like that. So, yeah. And then you can just have a bit of fun on it and Google, one on your app, 1 Tim Tam. How many calories is that? Cappuccino, full cream milk, stuff like that, stuff that you eat. Do you have a handful of barbecue shapes every night? Is it 25 grams? Is it 50 grams? It's the difference of 200-300 calories. So then you actually need kitchen scales, you need to weigh it, and you need to write it in your diary. So by burning, I've talked a lot about calories in, so how you eat them or drink them. So by burning calories out is why we have our Apple Watches with watches on. We record our calories from our Apple Watches or your Fitbits, whatever you wear. And then also your BMR, which stands for basal metabolic rate. So that's how many calories you burn just by being alive. Okay, so you might lay on the lounge all day and watch Netflix and you'll still burn calories, your BMR. Your heart is beating, there's oxygen going through your system, digestive system's working, burning calories. There's an app you can get to work out yours just on your phone, BMR calculator, I think it's called. Everyone's is different: age, weight, height, gender. So that's how you can tell you burn calories by exercising, and then also your BMR. If you've got a Apple Watch, a really cool thing, and I might just screenshot it and send it in the group, is at the end of the day you can press a summary. I'll show you a summary, and it shows you how many calories you've burnt throughout the whole day, which is pretty cool. I find that really easy if you're doing a food diary. And I'm sure if you've got different watches, they may do that too, if you've got a Garmin and things like that. So what you would have at the end of the day, calories in, what you've eaten, and calories out. Exercise BMR. Consistently over 7 days, okay? I had a couple of questions people asked me is how to get in more protein if you follow a vegan diet or a plant-based diet. So some good sources are tofu, beans, peas, chickpeas, lentils, tempeh, edamame beans. Did I pronounce that right? Edamame. And quinoa are great sources of protein to add to every meal. So 1 gram of protein is about 4 calories. You can work that out. And you should be eating your own body weight in protein. So if I sit on around 70 kilos, I should be eating around 70 grams of protein. How do I know that? Measure it. And it's quite hard to get 70 grams of protein, even if you're not a vegan. So if the beans make you gassy, it's really good if you can wash them first. That's just a little tip that I've got there. So you could add them to every meal. That question was from Rebecca. So you could add any of those protein sources to any meal throughout the day. Another question was in regards to portion sizes. So I'll send through a picture of what an ideal plate would look like. It should be almost like half of veggies or salad, quarter of protein, and then starchy carbs, and then just a little bit of fat as well, if it was like a pie chart. But if you're counting calories, then you don't really have to worry about portion sizes. Does that make sense? So you should be able to add up what's on your plate, and then it takes the guessing out of it. So how do I know how many calories are on my plate? You weigh your protein, your chicken, steak, fish, whatever. You will measure your carbs, your rice, your pasta. You'll measure them. Measuring cup, half a cup of rice equals 200 calories. And that will be to hit your calorie intake. I say green salad and green veggies are free calories. I don't actually count them in my diet, except for avocado, because that's a fat. And you need to count that because 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. 1 gram equals 9 calories. Okay, that's macronutrients. Coloured fruit and coloured veggies you should eat. You should count, so like sweet potato, pumpkin, capsicum, carrots, and things like that. They do have probably the sweeter ones if you think about it like that. Beetroots have calories in them. Sugar, probably higher in sugar. This is a really good thing to remember. 1 gram of red meat equals 2 calories. 1 gram of chicken is 1.5 calories, and 1 gram of white fish equals 1 calorie. So if I see a 400 gram steak on a menu, if you go to the pub or something, 400 gram steak, 800 calories already. And remember, we're trying to only consume 1400 a day. It doesn't take into account all the sauces and the bread rolls and etc. So that's a kind of an easy thing to remember. So white fish is your lowest in calories for your protein, meat proteins, animal proteins, I should say. So a goal would be around 1400. And if you eat 1400 calories a day and move a little bit more, the quicker you will lose weight because you're in a bigger deficit. If you do a big workout and you've burnt like 400 calories, it doesn't mean you can eat 400 calories more for the day. You got to stick at your 1400. Anything you work out is a bonus, yeah? And then once you hit your goal weight, if you're happy with your goal weight, and then you just want to maintain, which is probably me and probably a few people in the group as well, we can still kind of know what we're eating per day as we train a little harder. And then, if we don't train and we still eat those same calories, and eventually we would put on weight like everyone else. So, yeah. In regards to food labels, you can check the energy on the back of the packets, and it will tell you how many calories per gram or per meal. Quite often packets of things have 10 servings in the packet. So let's just take, for example, barbecue shapes. 1 serving is 25 grams, equals 200 calories. So measure out how much is 25 grams of barbecue shapes. Measure it out, have a little look. We want to be avoiding things in the ingredients with numbers, stabilizers, colorings. So they're all processed, very processed foods. So just if you go in the supermarket or go through your cupboards at home, have a little look, see what's in them. And we do really want to avoid things with numbers, especially if you've got kids out there who might have behavioural issues in regards to if they've eaten certain foods. It's probably in regards to the additives and preservatives and things like that. A very good app is called Chemical Maze, and it works on like a stoplight, red, orange or green, I think. So for, avoid red, amber, okay, green is okay. Chemical Maze. So we want to think unprocessed food. So the majority of things in tins, cans, packets have been altered so they can ensure to have a long shelf life. So you ever buy something and it doesn't go off for weeks and weeks, it's kind of a reason why, yeah? Full of preservatives. So whole foods are eaten as they are. An apple is an apple. Potato's a potato, whereas a packet of potato chips is processed. because it's changed the way it was. So whole foods, fruit and veggies, whole grains, so rice and things like that. Go brown if we can, so it's still got the fiber in it, or white rice, white pasta and things like that have had most of the fiber removed from them. So yeah, fresh protein if you can, free range if you can afford it, or organic. So a lot of the animals are pumped full of antibiotics to make them bigger, you know, fatter, get more money. So if you do eat meat, you would probably try and source it from a local butcher, supermarkets and things like that. And less flavorings and spices, you know, is probably better as well, because a lot of those flavorings that they put on them are just pretty much preservatives, additives and things like that. So you're better off doing your own marinades and yeah. So that's kind of most of the stuff I wanted to cover with you tonight, and I want you to remember to include liquid calories as well. Bring your food diary in and show me. It's just old school, pen and paper. Walk around with it in your bag. If you work, it's at home on your desk. If you happen to eat a banana, write it in the book. Whatever. If you have a handful of peanuts, how many is it? How many grams is it? Is it a big handful or is it a small handful? Is it 20 grams? Is it 50 grams? It could be the difference between you losing, you know, your weight for the week or not. So if you want me to help you bring it in, I'll mark it like homework and give you tips and things like that. So you can sort of go on the 80-20 rule, guys. You know, if you want 80% good, 20%, if you want the Tim Tam, just eat it, but write it in your book. It's 100 calories, I reckon. How do I know that? So yeah, I also want you to try and drink 3 liters of water a day. Ideally 1 liter per 20 kilos, but let's all just try and stick to 1 liter of water a day. No soft drinks. Limit alcohol. Ditch the soda, ditch the, you know, full cream cappuccinos, ditch the flavored milks, processed foods and things like that. So I hope this has helped. And if I was you and I was watching this, I would write down things that are relevant to me, go back through it and write down notes. So, and then what I'll do is include those screenshots that I mentioned. And if you've got any questions after you've watched this, you can PM me and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for being patient with me. We went to the beach on the weekend, so it was off grid with no IT, but I did do some research for you, which I put into the presentation today. All right, I'll see most of you tonight. Thank you. Bye.